Welcome back, first grade. Happy Friday. Today we will publish our nature writing. We will revise our stories and edit our story in using our checklist. This is important so that we can become better writers. So today you're going to get this fancy paper and you're going to write your sentences for your character, your setting, your problem, and your solution. And then you're going to use this checklist to revise your story. That means you're going to look for things that you need to have or mistakes that you might have made when you were writing your story. So let's get started with writing our story. So you're going to use your nature picture and your character that you chose from your nature picture and your setting that you chose and your problem and your solution. And you are going to start with your character, So remember, my character was the squirrel and the setting was he lived in a tree. Okay, and the problem that he had was there wasn't enough food left for the winter, so his solution was to collect pecans for the winter so that he would have enough food saved up. All right, so now we're ready to start writing. So here's my paper. Here's my pencil. And now I'm going to start my story with introducing my character. So I'm going to say once, finger space, there was a squirrel. Now, I could stop my sentence there and put a period, or I can combine my setting with the character sentence. So I'm going to do that. So once there was a squirrel who lived in a tree. Now that is the end of my sentence. So I'm going to put a period at the end of that sentence. Once there was a squirrel who lived in a tree. Okay? Now the next sentence is going to be the problem my character had. What problem did my squirrel have? If you need to look back at your graphic organizer to remember what the problem was, you can get that out. It says there isn't enough food left for the winter. That was his problem. So I'm going to write that for his problem. He didn't have enough food for the I ran out of room. What am I going to do now? What do you do when you run out of room? Well, it just happens to be your lucky day. If you run out of room, you can flip it over and there are some more lines. So what did I say? He didn't have enough food for the what? The winter. Winter. That was his problem. All right. So now I need to write my solution. How did he solve that problem? I can go back and look at my graphic organizer, which says the squirrel is collecting pecans for the winter. So I can look at my picture and it's like, oh yeah, that's how he solved that problem. So I'm going to say he decided to collect pecans for the winter. That way he won't be hungry when it gets really, really cold. He'll have them saved up. That's the end of my sentence right there. This was the end of my other sentence that I started on this page. He didn't have enough food for the winter. He decided to collect pecans for the winter. And that's the end of my story. If you want to write more sentences than that, you are perfectly welcome. You don't have to write a whole page, but you do need to include your character, your setting, your problem, and your solution. Those 4 things need to be in your story. And these are some other things that you need to have in your story. It is called a writing checklist. And it looks like this. So it says, did I remember capital letters at the beginning of sentences and proper nouns? Well, let's see. I've got a capital letter there. That's the beginning of a sentence. I didn't give my squirrel a name. Squirrel isn't his name. It is just the type of animal. If I had said once there was a squirrel named Larry, then I would need a capital L for Larry. But since I didn't do that, I don't need a capital. I do need a capital at the beginning of my next sentence. He didn't have enough food for the winter. Now, this winter is not the beginning of my sentence. That was the last word of my other sentence, right? So I don't need a capital there. I do need a capital when I start my next sentence. He decided to collect pecans for the winter. So if I have capital letters for at the beginning of sentences and proper nouns, I get a check. Now, did I remember periods at the end of my sentences? Well, let's go back and look. This is what you're going to do with your story. You're going to need to go back and look and make sure you have all your capitals and periods. Once there was a squirrel who lived in a tree. Period. He didn't have enough food for the winter. Period. He decided to collect pecans for the winter. Period. So, back to my checklist. Did I put periods at the end of my sentences? Yes, I did. So, check. Number 3, did I remember finger spaces between words? Yes, I showed you that at the beginning, that there were finger spaces between my words. That way it doesn't look like one great big long word, right? That's no fun to read. So finger spaces, check. Did I write on the lines? This is where my picture goes. And here's where my words go. My sentences go on the lines. Yes, I did write on the lines. So I get a check for that. Did I use my best handwriting? Does it look nice and neat and readable? Yes, it does. It needs to be nice and neat on the lines. It needs to be easy to read. That gets a check. I did use my best handwriting. Now, number 6 says, did I write my name and date at the top? I don't remember. I better go back and look. So do you see my name and date at the top? Nope, me either. So I need to go put my name and my date at the top of my paper. Today is December 11th. Now I've finished revising my story. I can go draw my picture and color it and take a picture and turn it in. And if I have enough time, I can record myself reading my story. Won't that be exciting to read your own story to your teacher? I can't wait to read them, and I can't wait to see them and hear them. And we are going to go back and look at what we learned today. Real quick, we wrote our sentences for our character, setting, problem, and solution from our nature picture that we have been working on. We used the revising writing checklist to make sure we had capitals and periods and finger spaces and writing on the lines and best handwriting and name and date at the top. And then when you're finished, you're going to take a picture and turn it in to your teacher. And I can't wait to read your stories. Have a good weekend. Bye.